Hi, you are watching SightsIn and this is Romesh Shivasto. Please do subscribe the channel for the HR news, for HR updates and conversation with the topmost HRs. Today, we are going to discuss about the moral and ethical issues with the AI technology. We will discuss what will be the HR tech trends in 2024. We will also try to explore that how the adoption of ChatGPT is evolved in last 1 year in human resources space. And to help us, we have Mr. Srinivasa Bharathy. He is CEO and Managing Director of Adrenalin eSystems Ltd. Welcome, Mr. Srinivasa.
Hi, Ramesh. Yes.
Srinivasa, if you look at the IT and tech industry as of now, so it is going through some, the uncertain phase, and the margins are diluted, projects are getting delayed, the hiring is slow or freeze somewhere. In such a scenario, how do you see how is the HR tech industry is going on?
Yeah. So we are seeing, I think the sluggishness that you're mentioning, I would think it is mostly in the services industry. In the HR tech product and platform, industry, which is mostly SaaS kind of industry, we are actually seeing growth in the space. Actually post-COVID, the focus on HR tech has really multiplied. I think with the remote working, hybrid working, working from anywhere becoming the norm, especially in the tech and the services markets and industry, we are actually seeing adoption of HR tech really going up in the last few years. Especially that is not, to me, showing that much signs of slowing down. But you're right, in the services space. No, I do interact with other colleagues in the services industry that there is a bit of sluggishness. And so in certain industries, for example, where our own prospects and customers are in the IT space, we do feel that their decision making has become a bit slower, delayed especially in the last quarter or so.
If you look at the artificial intelligence part now, so I think it has been the buzzing word for the entire 2023 because it has a lot of potential. It can influence the way you work, it can influence the way you live, and we use a lot of applications of artificial intelligence and also the human resources. But when the ChatGPT was launched, I think last year, so because artificial intelligence has some pros and cons, so based on some ethical issues, many companies have banned the use of ChatGPT, this generative AI. Maybe the companies like Samsung, Deutsche Bank, Amazon, Accenture, many companies they have banned the use of this. How do you see what are the biggest ethical challenges with the AI technology currently?
Yeah, I think you summed it up a lot. I think we are seeing both the pros and the cons of what AI can do. The pros, I think most of us know that it is obviously, cutting down a lot of effort, improves productivity, is able to crunch a lot of information and data and provide it in a very quick summary form for us to, help humans actually become much more, productive in their work. However, yeah, what comes with it, I think, like always with any new technology, I think it's always a double-edged sword. You actually have some cons that come along with it. It is to do with the way the AI engines, the algorithms actually work. They actually use past data. The modeling itself is based on whatever training the AI engine has received. And if those training data, the sample data that you use, is itself actually not reflecting what you want to do, but actually reflecting what is happened in the past, it is very likely that these AI engines may just keep repeating those mistakes and those errors and those biases that were existing earlier, and just make you repeat them again and again. So I think that is the biggest con I can see, where some of those the very purpose of trying to eliminate human biases through AI can itself get actually challenged when AI itself has a bias, and that thereby the requirement for a human oversight, I think, on AI is, very much required. If we look at, how the training, so models are done, what are the data sets that are being used, how do we ensure fairness and, ethical use of AI is very important also in the cultural context. So for sometimes, for example, let's say, even hiring in HR, for example, what is ethical and right or fair in a particular geography, in a particular country, may be slightly different from a different country. So while AI is, looks at it very straightforward and the same across multiple cultures, there may be some cultural and social context that the AI may not understand and cannot be built in to the model because there is no past data available for it, right? So all these leads to a certain set of bias that can creep in, and we need to be conscious about it as we set about using these, models, these AI engines. With respect to ChatGPT in special, why companies are, possibly banning it or not wanting their employees to use it is to ensure confidentiality and privacy of data that could leak through the open engines, especially in the open AI kind of engines, where this could then be misused or, be used inappropriately by, other people who either are competitors or for, whatever, wrong intentions they may have. So I think that is the reason people are very careful about how, some of these open AI engines are used. However, if you're using a very proprietary AI kind of a model, which is trained on the data that you would like to use and trained on models and futuristic areas that you would like to go see your organization work, I think it's a good, kind of a way to use AI, along with some human oversight of the processes in which these AI engines function.
So what I understand that these companies have banned, that may be because of some cybersecurity issues, that may be because of some data, leakage. This kind of maybe the fears are. And second, AI is maybe that's developed by the human, so that data is being fed by the human, and so these are the human biases in AI. What I understood by this discussion. So in for the HR, when we talk about the recruitment, there are certain HRtech applications which are very useful for the recruitment. So how do you work on these biases when you design a application for the recruitment purpose in HR?
So in general, what used to be called recruitment, and then what then moved and people started calling it talent acquisition. Now we call it, in fact, what we have named it is candidate experience. So how do we actually provide a great candidate experience throughout the journey of a candidate who potentially then becomes an employee is very important in the talent acquisition or the recruitment process. So what we look at is which are those areas that any organization who wants to recruit the best talent in the market can effectively use. One, simple but effective processes. Second, how do I automate some of those things to ensure that, I have better productivity, as well as find out fitment of candidates to a position or a vacancy very quickly. So some of these areas, we use AI and AI engines to actually rank CVs, find fitment between skill sets that are needed versus skill sets that are available, and also identify potential gaps in certain candidates who may not be immediately a fitment today, but with a small upskilling, that person actually can become a hireable talent or a hireable, candidate for an organization. And how do I then take that process forward and ensure that this candidate has the ability to view the organization in a right light, the right kind of content and engagement that happens with that candidate, and finally ending up with how do I very easily and very engagingly, provide an onboarding experience for the candidate to become an employee. In fact, one of the things that we saw during this great resignation phase that we heard about during the COVID times was a lot of candidates would accept offers, but then they would just go missing on the onboarding date, right? So some of these things were because, organizations could not engage them digitally, engage them through a process and a way of actually understanding what the candidate expected when he or she accepted an offer versus what they were expecting when they came for onboarding, right? And so I think bridging that gap using HRtech is a very, very nice way of actually ensuring you are able to provide the experience for candidates to have a rich as well as a rewarding onboarding experience. That should be, I think, organizations' goal in recruitment rather than just trying to fill up the positions just because they are vacant. Let's try and find some warm bodies to put in.
You have taken very interesting example of this candidate ghosting part. So it has been into the great resignation time. Yeah, absolutely. What are the other ethical implications you see in when we talk about the artificial intelligence in HR? We have discussed about the recruitment, maybe other candidate performance, maybe we use artificial intelligence in other areas of the HR as well.
Yes. In recruitment, for sure. For example, like I was saying, when I look at a candidate and let's say, for example, if I'm using an AI engine to shortlist certain candidates or screen candidates, we should ensure that bias of the past does not actually become a factor while screening or, the initial shortlisting of candidates themselves. In the other areas, for example, if I'm actually looking at performance management, or linking learning with performance, and how do I actually identify gaps that need to be filled? So if you look at what the analysts like Gartner and all say about 2024, one of the biggest areas where we will need attention is upskilling, right? Upskilling and cross-skilling are becoming very, very important in this age where you may have gaps between what the organization wants to actually do over the next 1 year or 1.5 years versus what your current talent pool has as skill sets, and how do I actually bring in learning experiences into the system using AI engines that can actually improve the skills and the competencies of my talent pool to actually do this. While doing this, there could be, like I said, some ways in which the AI models can say, AI models, of course, are sometimes prone to hallucination. So we need to ensure that some of these hallucinations they do not impact the outcomes that are required from a business point of view while upskilling this talent, in the process. Similarly, in other areas, if you look at, AI can be used very well in career planning, in succession planning, in identifying, what are the leadership positions that are needed for succession and who are the right people in terms of their performance, their potential, and their skills and competencies, and how do I actually bring them all together using a learning platform to build the successors in various positions based on my business plans. So I think some of these areas, for sure, there is going to be an impact in the way AI will be used. But again, I think like we have been discussing for the last few minutes, one has to be careful about, while using this, so that some of the, the errors that could creep in are avoided using the process.
Right, right. So if we look at the ChatGPT and BART, so especially ChatGPT, it was launched by the Microsoft last year in November itself, last week of the November. So it has been 1 year almost. And so in this period of time, how do you see the uses of ChatGPTs evolved in human resources in HR space?
Okay. So yeah, it is right. Though it's almost a year since ChatGPT became a global phenomenon. And we are seeing the rising use of co-pilots, as Microsoft now calls it, in various areas, especially in HR. I think like if we see the entire life cycle of HR, I think various uses are coming up, right from, for example, helping talent acquisition specialists create good job descriptions. So I think right from there to helping with creating content that is important, plus engagement with employees. Sometimes where you actually have employees asking questions. There's a conversational piece that actually brings in the ability for HR to scale without having to scale their staff, scale their team size. And the ability to provide relevant answers based on not only the company contextual data or information, but also information from outside. I think through the cycle, what we are seeing, I think a lot of people still are experimenting with a lot of use cases and what are called prompt engineering, prompts that are being used. But adoption, I think, is still something that we need to observe, see what kind of adoption happens in which areas. I think now everybody is trying a lot of things with it. We also have tried a lot of stuff. We have, tried more than 200 prompts, with ChatGPT itself. And a lot of them, we are trying to seek usage. We are actually analyzing user results, user responses, and seeing which are those areas where people actually use it effectively. And I think ultimately it will boil down to a few areas that adoption will rise and across the spectrum, right from candidate experience. We call it as 4 different experiences. Candidate experience, you have the employee experience, you have talent experience, and you have also the data experience. So as we actually ask, to actually look at how this will move, I think it will move into conversational analytics that will start helping business leaders really take some strategic decisions using a conversation with an AI engine. So I think that is where it is moving towards. But the 1 year has been very fruitful. I think, though it has been a lot of experimentation, I would say. I think there is some light at the end of the tunnel in that sense that some adoption has started. That adoption has to be kind of reviewed, observed very closely, and that will improve the way engagement happens between an organization and its talent pool and its workforce over a period of time.
Yeah, absolutely. I think adoption is started in L&D space and also in talent acquisition space with a couple of companies. They are also providing training to their recruiters, also training to their L&D guys. So
yes,
Srinivas, we are in the last quarter of this year, 2023, and only 2 months away from 2024. We are very close to 2024. In such a situation about the HR and other technology space, how do you see what would be the HRtech trends in 2024?
I think the trends in 2024 are very much in line with how the technologies are progressing today, as well as what we are seeing as increased adoption among enterprises and even the mid-market enterprises towards HRtech. Like we discussed briefly, I think some of the areas where we will see a lot of traction is the learning and development, which is learning experience platforms. In talent marketplaces that will come up over a period of time, where not only internal talent marketplaces but also external talent marketplaces. Like I think it's evident from the way LinkedIn has also come in with their talent solutions and their recruitment solutions now. I think a lot of hyper automation will come in the HR space. Extensibility and composability of HRtech solutions based on best of breed approach in terms of usage for enterprises will start seeing light next year, as also like the adoption of AI in many parts of the HR life cycle, right from recruitment to learning and development, like we saw, to talent management, employee engagement, as well as in some of the social recognition and employee recognition areas that I think we will see traction in the next year.
And Mr. Srinivas, how do you see the adoption of HRtech in India as of now?
Great. I think in India, we are seeing a huge improvement in the HR tech adoption across sectors. If I look at the sectors in different lenses. So if I look at it from an industry vertical lens, we are seeing big time adoption coming from even industries like real estate, manufacturing, pharma. While early adopters in this segment have been the BFSI, the banking space, and the ITES space, we always have them as early adopters in any HR, any tech, kind of a product. We are also seeing it in the, like I said, in the other industries today in India, and across the spectrum, which means whether it is a SMB segment, whether it is a mid-market segment or the large enterprise segment, we are seeing traction in across segments. Though we, of course, are mostly in the large enterprise and the upper mid-market segment, we do see competitors and startups and other HR tech products doing well in the SMB segment also. And hence, I think overall HR tech adoption in India is on a big upswing. While there are a lot of, I think, first-time adopters, there are also a lot of brownfield projects where legacy systems that large enterprises were using for many years, they are all looking to be replaced with the new edge, new contemporary kind of solutions and platforms at this point in time. And hence, it's I think the next few years is HR tech in the B2B space. I think HR tech possibly is going to be a shining light, I think, in the HR in the technology space in India.
Yeah, we have discussed about the ChatGPT. We have discussed about the artificial intelligence and the HRtech challenges. I think the winning the trust, that is also a biggest challenge for the artificial intelligence. And now in India, we have also the data privacy law. So I think we would be able to deal with this in a good way. Anything else that is important and we did not touch, would you like to share here, please?
I think like maybe we should phrase it as, what we will see in 2024 is responsible AI. It's more, as we see what will happen in, 2024 as, as possibly an evolution of what we have started off seeing. And I think what primarily focus that organizations and enterprises will look at is how well are they able to actually provide world-class workforce experience for their talent pool, so that they can retain this talent pool and help them grow with their business as they grow in the industry. I think that is something that we will see in a big way over the next year.
Right, right. So thank you so much, Mr. Srinivas, for joining the conversation and sharing your wonderful thoughts. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, Ramesh. Thank you. Have a good day.